Bersatu kita warga UiTM, kita bangsa perkasa, taat dan setiaku untuk negara, penuh semangat wajar. Kita jangan mudah terlupa pengorbanan perjuangan anak bangsa. Kita jangan mudah terleka kemajuan keamanan yang ada. Kita berterima kasih pada pemimpin-pemimpin negara. Kita rasa penuh bersyukur kerahmatan kemuliaan darinya. Kamilah pendukung pewaris bangsa, kamilah pejalan bangsa Malaysia, kamilah warga berwawasan untuk negaraku.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين والعاقبة للمتقين والصلاة والسلام على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. يا الله يا رحمن يا رحيم. We express our gratitude for allowing us to gather on this blessed day in conjunction with International Virtual Educational Design, Invention and Innovation Competition 2022. Ya Fattahu Ya Alim, we pray that you bless this program with the abundance of your mercy and grace. May all our efforts in making this program a success attain your acceptance and guidance. Ya Dal Jalali wal Ikram, at this very moment, we extend our hands of servitude, hoping for your grace to unite our hearts. Grant excellence to us in the facets of character building and further award us excellence after excellence that is more meaningful in various domains in times to come. Ya Allah, only to you we extend our gratitude for all your mercy and blessings. ربنا آتنا في الدنيا حسنة وفي الآخرة حسنة وقنا عذاب النار وصلى الله على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم والحمد لله رب العالمين.
Amin, amin, ya Rabbal Alameen. Thank you very much for the dua, Muhammad Afnan Haikal bin Muhammad Shamsul Rizal, our student in the Faculty of Education UiTM, who is in his third semester Bachelor of Education Honours in Teaching English as a Second Language or TESOL program. Muhammad Afnan is the second runner-up Icon Muadib Faculty of Education UiTM. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh and a very good morning, ladies and gentlemen. On behalf of the Faculty of Education UiTM, I'd like to welcome all YouTube participants, teacher educators, lecturers, students, and our strategic partners and collaborators from Malaysia as well as internationally. Philippines, Brunei, Indonesia, welcome to everyone. Thank you for joining us in our second series of iVEDIIC lunch dates. This series is part of our efforts to not only invite participation in the International Virtual Educational Design, Invention and Innovation Competition 2022 or iVEDIIC, but also to guide participants and potential participants in aspects of innovation that can help them enhance their entries in the competition. iVEDIIC welcomes participation from students and teaching staff from all levels of education, from preschool all the way to tertiary institutions, as well as from members of industry. This year's theme is Humanizing Innovation for Creative Society Through Collaboration. On that note, I would like to highlight to everyone here that we are accepting entries until 21st October, so you still have a lot of time if you wish to participate. Do please come and join us and showcase your innovations with us. Please visit our website for more information on submissions, and we look forward to your participation. Ladies and gentlemen, now, please let me introduce our esteemed speaker for today. Associate Professor Dr. Harwati is the Deputy Dean of Postgraduate Studies from the Faculty of Education, Universiti Kebangsaan Malaysia, UKM, and is also a Senior Lecturer at UKM's Pusat Inovasi Pengajaran dan Pembelajaran. Her research interests include teaching English as a second language, technology in the teaching of learning language, as well as mobile learning. Dr. Harwati has published numerous articles in high impact journals as well as index proceedings and often participates in innovation competitions on teaching and learning. Before we begin, a note to members of the audience. We will open the question and answer session after the talk. So if you have any questions throughout the talk, you are most welcome to ask in our YouTube chat box below and we will address after the talk. Without further ado, please welcome Dr. Harwati to share her experiences and tips on the topic from product to publication or vice versa. Doctor, the stage is all yours.
Thank you, Ms. Chairperson. Alhamdulillah, and a very good morning, everyone. Am I audible so far? Is everything clear?
Yes, Doctor.
Right. Okay. All right. May I share my screen straight away? Okay. Okay. Okay, so I hope everyone is seeing my screen now, perhaps in a few seconds. All right. Okay, Alhamdulillah. Thank you so much again to Ms. Chairperson Puan Nadia for the introduction. And I am very honored to be invited to iVEDIIC 2020 Lunch Date Series. I think this is the second one. Last week was the first one. And today I was given the I would say responsibility or honor to be sharing one of the main topic, which is from product to publication or vice versa. And thank you Ms. Chairperson had already introduced me just now. Yes, I am Deputy Dean of the Undergraduate Studies, currently attached to the Faculty of Education, Universiti Kebangsaan Malaysia, UKM. Just to let everybody know, I am also a certified Apple Professional Learning Provider, Apple Teacher, as well as Apple Teacher Swift Playground. Okay, so I think I'm going to skip this one because I had been introduced just now. Just to a little bit of, I would say, self-introduction in terms of the track record of publication and innovation. I think it is very important for me to highlight this because we are talking about product to publication. And at the same time, I want to also have that impression that it is doable. So therefore, if you were to look at my track record in terms of publication, these are the numerous publications that I have so far. And also IP is the copyright at the bottom. So far I have 15. And for the innovation, along the way, I have collected 2 special awards, Best of the Best Award, and then the Diamond Award, name it Gold Award, Silver, and Bronze, just to show everybody the first impression that it is not that difficult to have our product to publication as well as to have our publication to become product. Okay. When we talk about product to publication and vice versa, we have 2 main keywords here. One is products, number 1 is publication. Just to ask the participant, probably you can also share your feedback in the YouTube live chat. What do you understand by products and publication in research? Maybe you can share your answers, share your feedback in the YouTube channel, because at the same time, I can also see the YouTube channel's comments and I'll get some response from that. And just to let everybody know, both of these elements, name it products, name it publication, it always related to research. So once you have research, you will definitely have products. When you have products, you will definitely have publications. And when we talk about products, there are so many definitions of products. And when we talk about publication, there are so many definitions of publications. So either way, whatever the definition is, it is always doable for a researcher, name it educators, name it teachers, name it students if you are doing research, undergraduate, postgraduate, even school students now doing research at the same time. So this product to publication is doable. Okay. And what are products in research? Most of the time, I was asked by many people, what do you do actually in your research? Do you produce products? Because I am in the social sciences areas. So usually people have this kinds of conception. You are a social science researcher. What do you produce? So as compared to those who are in, let's say, engineering, those who are in other field, they may produce software, they may produce products, food, name it, any other innovative products based on their study. But as a social science researcher, what do you actually produce? So when we talk about products in research, we have to be aware of many definitions, because if you were to just restrict it by the definition of product as it is something that could be seen, so it is quite difficult for you to manipulate or to explore more things in your research. Okay, if you are also to see my slide, it is very simple because it is a lunch date version, so everyone is like in a mode of leisure. So let's not make it too complex when I were to explain to everybody. So there are 2 products that you have to bear in mind. One is tangible, another one is intangible. So when we talk about tangible product, we talk about physical products. Of course, physical products means things that could be seen. Name it a bottle of mineral water, name it food product, name it machines, name it I don't know, probably some other products that could be seen, could be here, could be touched. So those are tangible product, which is physically could be seen. We have also another definition of product, which is intangible product. So products that are not physical in nature. So if you were to conduct a research that in the end, the output of your research is not basically a physical product, don't be afraid. You still have some products ongoing as an output of your research. And this is where, when people ask me, what do you actually do? What products do you actually offer? And what products do you actually have? I'll say, I have a lot. Name it. Which one do you want? Okay. But of course, along the way, you may want to also venture tangible product. You may also want to have a look again your intangible product. But just to highlight here again, products are not necessarily something that is physical. Okay, so far so good. I hope everyone is following. All right, yes, Sarah, products the fruit of your research. For example, model, questionnaire, inventory, right? Now, let's have a look at examples of tangible product in research. Of course, you have your own research. I think everyone in this room, probably a teacher, an educator, or students, if you have your research, try to now reflect upon your research. If you are producing module, for example, if you are coming up with a module, if you have a test kit, usually those who are in the science field, they come up with a test kit, like testing whether you have actually infected with COVID-19, for example, testing whether your BMI is at the average level, for example. So a test kit that you produce that is probably tangible. Okay, and then report, you may also produce a report at the end of your study, or probably a system that you could offer to everyone that could be sold, that could be used by a company, for example, or even mobile apps, something that could be used and downloaded by others, or probably as obvious as machines. Maybe you in your research, you came up with a machine that could help people to produce 100 nasi lemak, packs of nasi lemak, for example, in 30 minutes. So those are machines. So talking about nasi lemak, we are on lunch date. We don't have nasi lemak here during our lunch date. So you have your nasi lemak on your own. And then you may also provide a book of guidelines for you to help other people, to help teachers, or probably some sort of lesson guideline. For example, let's say your research is on augmented reality. So you have studied a few lessons and then you come up with a guidelines of conducting lesson using augmented reality, for example. Those are tangible product. You can come up with a book, you can come up with a guideline. It may also in the form of videos. As you are producing your research, you may come up with a lot of videos that you have tested, looking at usability, looking at feasibility, looking at how people perceive your videos in your research, or probably as simple as teaching and learning kit. There are so many. These are among others. These are not as it is. There are so many other things that are tangible product in research. These are among the common ones. Okay, and if you were to talk about intangible products in research, examples of intangible product, you may come out with algorithm. If you are a math student, for example, come up with an algorithm. Flowchart, something that is not basically for people to hold, for example, as like a pen, for example, but you are helping other people to use your flowchart to probably improve procedure. So you have a flowchart as an intangible product from your study. You have figures, probably. You have model as you probably develop or design a model, a new approach with a new modified model, probably, or you came up with a framework. And I think this one is the most common one. Everybody in research, you have instrument, definitely. Name it your quantitative data, name it your qualitative approach of collecting your data. You need an instrument. So instrument is also considered as a product. And maybe some of us produce rubrics in our research, okay? And also methods, approach, like for example, creative teaching method. service learning approach, probably collaborative learning approach, or probably some of you also produce concept from your study. So there are so many products in, name it, sciences students, science technology students, they have the advantage. But for social sciences, most of us, majority of our product are the intangible ones, intangible product. Okay, all right. So if you were to look at some of the examples that I have here, I'm going to share with you what do I do with my products. I'm going to show you some of the examples, and then later on we can discuss on how do I go about having the idea of implementing all this. If you were to look at this is the most current one lah. This is my PhD students. This was actually produced by my PhD students. There are a lot actually, but if I were to share everything, we won't have enough time. But I have picked up a few just to show you some examples. Like for example, this one. This is one of the product produced by my students from her study. Her study is on designing and developing a mobile apps for STEM learners in learning English. So definitely there is a tangible product there, a mobile application. So she came up with the mobile applications, and we have, of course, along the way, when she conducted her study, she collected a few data, respond from samples, and then get some feedback, and then do her pilot study, came out with her conceptual framework and whatnot. She has her instrument developed. So along the way, apart from the tangible product, there are also a lot of intangible product. As you can see here on the left, the product that is the example of interface of the mobile apps. So she came out with the apps. So therefore, if you were to look at the publication, if you were to talk about converting all this into publication, apart from just producing the product, she can also publish papers based on her data. So one example here, from this study, there are a lot of other publications as well, but I'm highlighting two publications which are Q2 WS Index Journal, SSCI, which is among the highest index journal. So she produced one in sustainability on sustaining education with mobile learning, which is actually some data taken from her study. And at the same time, she also published something to do with new qualitative perspective in human-computer interaction. So she talked about designing mobile English for STEM, which all data or results of her study could also be converted into a publication, a journal paper, an article that she published in Frontiers, a Q2 SSCIWS journal. And at the bottom, you can see a few certificates shared. There are a lot actually. From this one product, which is the mobile stamp, we received so far 2 special awards, as you can see there. 2 special awards, 1 Best Student Research Award, 1 or 2, and then 4 Gold Award, 1 Bronze. So only from one product, if you improve from time to time, you can actually get into a few platforms and get your work from just a mere product to take it a more serious platform, which is either innovation competition as well as publication. Before coming into innovation, I would suggest, however, to try to publish your product first to get some feedback, so that you know, as you are entering the innovation competition, you know things need to be improved. What are the things that need to be improved? And when you enter the innovation competition, it's a better version of your product. And for your information also, from this one product, which is called ME for STEM, and this one product is actually, we came out with 3 copyright. We have received 2 copyrighted products, and 1 is still in the process. We had our framework, the students, when they come out with this designing this ME for STEM, in your research, you have your conceptual framework, am I right? Do you have your conceptual framework? Maybe students can also share your feedback. If you are students, if you are lecturers, even if you are educators, when you come up with the research, you have your framework. And that framework is actually the blueprint of your research. And when you talk about blueprint, you are the only one who own that blueprint. You are the owner of the framework. And because of that, that framework could be copyrighted. So you have another product, which is the framework, which actually, if we were to talk about how it is significant for others in terms of the framework, let's say if we have developers, companies who develop mobile apps, they may have just developed, but they may not have any proper framework in developing educational applications. So in this case, your framework could be helpful to the developers to help them to come up with a more meaningful educational apps. So that is one intangible product, which is your conceptual framework or your blueprint. And then we have another copyrighted item, so our product, which is the module. At that moment, if I were to just bring in the story a little bit, because this is a lunch date, right? So at that moment, when we started with because this is a DDR approach, design, develop, and evaluate. As we are developing the module, before coming into developing the application, we have to compile the content, learning objective, or what are the words involved, what are the lessons, what are the modules, how many topics, all that could also be copyrighted and become product. Now you have one set of ME for STEM, for example, in this case, ME for STEM module. So you have one module. And now when we have completed the application, we are sending the applications for copyright as well. So from one product, you can have actually a few, from one research, you have a few products that you can produce. Okay, I hope everyone is following so far. All right. Now, moving on to the next example. Okay, I'm going to show another example. Now, this is another product, which is, I would say that this is something that is in a form of online module. Okay, when we did this before, it was the aim of the study is to develop a communicative English training module for adult learners for workplace, English at workplace. So when we have this, of course, the research was done from the beginning, whereby we have done our need analysis, we did our designing stage, the framework, we came out with the design, and in the end, we have this product, which is this module. So based from this product, we have also published. One of it is, as you can see, there are a lot actually, but I couldn't make it in one slide. So I just put a few, the most significant one, I would say. So one is on iSpeak, using mobile online learning course to learn English for the workplace. So we published one paper based on the data before coming into, because as we are analyzing, as we are doing the research, we have a lot of data along the way. So everything is publishable. Everything is product. Even the need analysis is a product. Even the framework is the product. Even the output itself is obviously a product. So you have so many products. And there are actually more than 2 publications in this for this one product. And as you can see, the book over there, in the one that you can see on your right, okay, iSpeak, an online learning course to learn English for the workplace. We even came out with one book at the end. That this book was actually the main output of this research. We have the and the book itself is actually 2 things. One is the publication as well as the product, and the book is now sold in our from our UKM penerbit. Yeah. So a lot of things. This is another example as compared to just now. As you can see, the previous one was quite a lot in terms of its output. This one actually we have more publications and a few. I think iSpeak also received, I can't remember because I have so many awards. So if I'm not mistaken, iSpeak also won gold for communicative English teaching in one of the competition back in 2020, right? And moving on to another example is the pitching project, Pitch Like a Pro. This is also almost similar to iSpeak just now. It is also a module that we have developed to help STEM learners in using English in their context. As they are learning English, we are helping them to use the jargons. We are helping them to pitch their project. We have we have actually organized the modules to help the students to be able to pitch their project like a pro at the end of the research, the output. So we came up with a few products actually, and you can see here one of the products is the module. So we have actually copyrighted the module, and we have also in a form of online version. One is the MOOC, UKM MOOC, and then we have also in a form of online version in our learning management system. We open it to our students as well as to others. So in terms of publication, there are a few publications under this Pitch Like a Pro project. And what you can see here, the most significant one, I would say, one of it is massive open online courses, because initially when we did the study, the platform we used was MOOC. So therefore, from the data that we have, and then we produce papers, we make use of the data. Everything is valuable in your research, and everything is publishable, and every single things that you produce along the way is product. Okay, so you have to have that mindset. Yeah, even your instrument, even your need analysis, even your framework, even your approach, even your obviously your output is your main product. But everything is product, and everything is publishable, and everything is actually could be sent for innovation competition, because in every research our intention is to solve problem. So every solution is significant in the context of the problem. So that is your notion. You want to bring in your product. Name it tangible, name it intangible. You are trying to solve the issues. So it is significant in the context. Okay, so maybe I think in the third session you have pitch like a pro. So that is where you need to know how to justify people that your research is very significant. Right, and as you can see here, these are two examples of publication. The Arab World English Journal is OUH is SSCI ESCI Index Journal, and then the other one on Malaysian University Students MOOCs Ready is ERA Index, yeah, journal. So both are index journal, not simply proceeding, not simply non-index journal. You can push your publication to a higher index journal. Okay, right. Now look at this another examples, which is the product is service learning framework for teachers training program. So we had this before. This is under a research grant. So we came out with a service learning framework. Even though service learning is common to universities, but our notion was we have no proper guideline for us to implement a service learning framework in the context of teachers training program, because at the Faculty of Education UKM, our soul is to serve back to the community. So we make use of a lot of community-based learning. We use a lot of service learning approach. It is an approach, and of course it is intangible because it is just an approach, right? But however, we have to think this way. This is something that is a solution that you are proposing, and therefore we have a product, intangible product. So a framework that is helping other people to probably improve their ways of teaching or probably approaches. And from this one service learning framework or teachers training framework, we came out with a few papers actually. As you can see here, I put a few, which is on service learning as innovative approach in ESL teachers training. So another one is service learning in English as a second language teachers training program, exploring pre-service, because we did this research with our TESOL students. So and therefore we look at service pre-service teachers. And one of the achievement from this product is that it received a gold award in Kenovasi. I think this one is in 2020, yes. And because we have published a few, right? You have to keep on track. You started with a few publications. You have a product, send for publication, receive some feedback, and then we can see what are the things to be improved. And now we think that another way to improve it is to have some sort of technology integration in it. And therefore, when we compete in Universiti 2020, we try to bring another notion and an element to service learning framework, which is the use of technology integration for service learning. Because normally when we talk about service learning, it is always a traditional way of servicing people. Now we want to highlight here, how do we go about having technology integration in service learning. So that is the notion that we try to bring at that particular moment. So that was in 2020 and we won gold for that. Okay, I'm going to show one video. I hope that it is going to be clear enough. If I may play this. Oops. Right, let me just play. Okay, so if you were to have a look at that video, actually, what I want to highlight here is that even without tangible product, the one that I was proposing was actually on the problem-based learning. If you were to follow the video just now, it is on problem-based learning approach for solving real issues in language learning using social media. So what I did with the students in the class, this is for teaching and learning innovation, that we know that problem-based learning is common, but what makes it different is very important for you to highlight. Like for example, probably in terms of the framework, probably in terms of how you inject other element in problem-based learning, for example. So in this case, the injection was the elements of community-based learning in problem-based learning and how it actually helps them to become a more meaningful learners. Okay, and it is no longer teacher-centered, but it is more of student-centered. And from this one innovation, we receive gold award. It was very recently, received one gold award, and then we also receive best of the best, first place, best of the best award for innovative teaching which involve community. Because as you can see how we highlighted things, for example, how it is being referred. So you have to collect all the evidence. And if I were the jurist, of course, when we talk about evidence, it has to be genuine evidence. Make it more of social media evidence, more real life evidence. You may want to record videos, you may want to have in terms of students handwriting, so it is more genuine, I would say, in terms of evidence. And one thing for sure, this is an intangible product. So when I were to reflect back when I competed this product in most recent competition, I have this some sort of I am competing with those who have products, like for example they have teaching and learning kits and whatnot. So I feel like, okay, is this, why not give it a try? But in the end, alhamdulillah, we received best of the best award. We have gold, and at the same time receive a best of the best award for this problem-based learning approach to solve real issues in language learning. So this is one example, intangible product, but doable, manageable to become a significant ones, especially in solving. Remember, when we have our products, when we get into innovation competition, when we publish, our main intention is to solve problem. So highlight on that. That is what most important. And if I were to bring in a lot of examples, actually, just to give you some sort of ideas and examples for you to come, because some people may say that I don't have any product, so I don't want to go for innovation competition, for example. I don't have product, so therefore I have nothing to publish. No, that is a wrong concept. As long as you have research, you have product, you can publish, you can compete. That is the idea. So, and if you were to look at another example, which is on seamless language learning in ESL context, this was actually one of the research from our fundamental research grant, FRGS grant scheme, that we received from the government. So therefore, we came up with this framework of seamless language learning. And we have actually copyrighted, because this research is still ongoing. So we have actually copyrighted the instrument, because for us, in developing the instrument, it takes some time because there is no clear instrument on seamless language learning. Okay, so therefore we have to use a lot of the method was quite complex, so therefore we find it like, well, we have to be the first person to have the instrument on seamless language learning, and therefore let's give it a copyright. It's ours somehow. So we sent for copyright. It's just that we don't have the opportunity yet for a competition. But of course, from one product on the seamless language learning framework, the research was seamless language learning framework, and therefore we published, because we have collected the data somehow, and then we have also copyrighted the instrument. And of course, there are so many other things to be copyrighted, like for example, the framework itself and many other things. If you can see the examples of tangible and intangible product just now. And this is something that if you were to ask from publication to product, because most of the examples given was actually product. But actually, if you were to talk about product to publication and publication to product, which one comes first? It is the same story like the egg and the hen. Which one comes first, right? So both ways, at the end of the day, you should have your research output in terms of products, in terms of publication. So this is one example on language learning strategies used by adult learners. And we have this paper published, we have done the research, we have the paper published, and in the end we say, hey, we receive emails from people asking whether they can somehow adapt the instrument and use the instrument, because they have done their search and Google search, they have done their homework, saying that there is no exact instrument on LLS used by adult learners. So we then decided to send it for copyright. So it became a product now. So we send it for copyright, and it is called ILSAL, ILLSAL, an inventory for language learning strategies used by adult learners. So we have another product based on the research, based on the publication. Because initially it was like, okay, we have a research, we publish, and then suddenly when we receive emails from other people asking whether they can have the instrument for them to refer, and then we said, that means it is something that is a high time for us to send for a copyright. Of course, it is open for a non-commercial use, but at the end of the day, we want to be honored that because we came up with the instrument. So therefore, we decided to copyright that instrument. And alhamdulillah, so far, every products that we have sent, there's no issues. As long as, yes, it is genuinely yours lah, in a way. And of course, we talk about vice versa. As I said just now, name it the egg first or the hen first. Either the hen first or the egg first. Same goes to product to publication. Which one comes first? Is the product, then we publish, or we publish first and then the product? Either way is the same, because at the end of the day, the key takeaways that we have from whatever research we are doing is that every output in research is a product. So you have to have that mindset. Every output in research, as long as you have research. When you have research, the advantage is a lot. You can have products, you can publish, definitely, you can have publications and many more. So you have to just to change your mindset that product is not just tangible. Product could also become the intangible ones like framework, model, rubrics, instrument and whatnot. And then product, as I said, product and publications are actually two sides of one coin. Whichever way you flip, both are from the same coin. And of course, either or, if the products come first, publish, why not? If the publication come first, think how the publication could actually be leveraged in terms of products. So send for copyright. So I think one of you did ask about copywriting just now. I'll answer that in a while. Strategize the actions and the output. You have to change your mindset. Put it aside. No. We have the collection of data is the most difficult part. You have that. Why waste? Everything is publishable. Everything is a product. So take it, strategize, plan your actions. Let's say you have one research. Okay, the research is on probably the use of collaborative learning among students, for example. Well, if you were to talk about common people, they will say collaborative learning is common. Not taken, point taken. So if collaborative learning is common, how do you want to make yours significant? So you have to have some sort of, remember when I mentioned about injections, how do you actually innovate collaborative learning? So that could give some sort of values to your innovation, values to your research, rather than just collaborative learning in general. Okay, strategize, I would say. Of course, when we want to do a product, if you were to ask me, if I were to have a research, I have started thinking, this research could go far. What competition can we enter? What products can we produce? What are the things that could be copyrighted? And where can we publish? So you have to have that mindset. You have to strategize your actions at the beginning of the research. You know better your research, all right? And have the mindset. So don't get too comfortable. If your research is done, you can ask. Even if you are students in this among the audience as students, ask your supervisor. So Prof, Doctor, I've done with my study. So what's next? Can I go for competition? So if you were to go for competition, you need to strategize. If yours is intangible output, of course, it is very difficult for us to compete with those with tangible products. You have to strategize. Go for a conference that suit the context of your study. So one of it is the iVEDIIC. Let's say iVEDIIC is on teaching and learning, and your innovation is more towards teaching and learning. So you can have tangible product and you can have intangible product. If you want to go for something like for example a more industries platform, you may have to compete with those I would say extreme product. So you get frustrated. So you have to strategize. Where do you want to compete your product at? Okay, so I think I would go for questions after this. I think you have a lot of questions to ask. But before coming into that questions, I am very much honored. If you have any questions that is if you want to personally ask me questions, or you want to get in touch later on, probably you can just email me, harwati@ukm.edu.my, and I am very happy to share whatever knowledge that I have with you. And I think people know me. If we would talk about publication, if we were to talk about innovation, they know Harwati with innovation and publication. They will say, she's crazy lady. So go ahead, find ways, and of course, have the mindset of what is next. So I think that's all from me. I'm going to hand over to the chairperson again, probably for some sort of question and answer. So I'm going to stop sharing. Yes, so yep, okay. Okay.
Thank you so much, Dr. Harwati, for your insightful sharing and guidance. We learned a lot today. Okay. If I may sum up a bit, Dr. Harwati, some of the things, highlights that you have mentioned in your talk. Number one, to remember that it's doable, right? It's doable for
Yes,
anyone who
yes.
is engaged in research, okay, from students
Mm,
to educators, right? And products and publication begin from research, okay? And the definition of products itself is very wide. Tangible and
yes.
intangible. Both are significant, both are impactful. And I think that's very important to remember, especially sometimes myself being from the social sciences, and I look at the tangible products, and sometimes I don't think that my intangible products also actually have the potential to make
Mm,
an impact, right?
yes, yes.
Also, also, everything is publishable from needs analysis up to the outputs or findings of the research. Okay.
Yes,
One of the main intentions of having products and publications is to solve problems and,
yes,
if possible, start strategizing from the beginning of the research. Okay.
yes.
There was so much you shared, and it really opened up our eyes. I hope that the audience takes that as well. Okay, so now we're going to take some questions if that's possible, Doctor.
Sure,
Uh,
sure.
okay, the first question is, from product to publication, would it still be subjected to the normal procedure of ethics applications, even though the content is already available, Doctor?
All right. This is, I think, an interesting question. When we talk about ethics, the word ethics is very wide. Number one, the question is the competition that we entered, if there is a proceeding, when we talk about proceeding and we send the same proceeding as very similar from any other competition that we have participated before, that will be ethically wrong in a way, because we talk about published product, which is the proceeding or journal or chapter of a book. You cannot publish the same things very similar to each other in different platforms. That is one uh, unethical act, I would say. If we were to talk about the product itself, if you were to compete just the product, you don't send any write up, for example, then it's okay for me. The first answer would be that is okay. But however, if we were to talk about being judged by juries, basically, if we were to have, if I myself, if let's say I'm a jury, and then I've seen this innovation somewhere else, and then I think usually participant will mention that they have been recognized by previous competition, they have received gold awards and whatnot. I will ask them, so how does make this different from the previous one? Have you made any improvement to it? If it is the same, it's going to somehow influence how I judge, because it is the same. There is no new thing to it. You have done this before, so you have competed and you won gold. So what is new in this one? Again, and that is also another things that we need to consider. But somehow or other, just to give the spirits of innovating, you can compete the same product to different platform, because at the end of the day, it is different platform. But if I were to suggest my students, I think I always suggest them to try to change the title so that it is not the same, because you want to make, number one is to suit the context of the competition. What is the scope of the competition? So adjust your title to the context of the competition, and then check. So I ask them to check, do you need to submit anything? Abstract? Do you need to submit a paper? So if they say just an abstract, doctor, okay, produce a new abstract, I would say. Even though it is the same product, produce a new abstract. If a paper, definitely a different paper. You have to go through similarity because the previous one was published in their chapter. So you cannot take that. So in a way, you can publish similar product. You can send for competition similar product in different platform, because at the end of the day, we want to see the value of our product. Maybe in one competition we receive silver, in another competition we receive gold, or it could be the other way around. One competition gold, the other one is silver. So if there is no consistency, something is wrong with the product. So we want to improve then. So that is the spirit of innovators. Keep on improving based on different competitions and achievements, I would say. Right. I hope that answered the questions.
Thank you, Doctor. I mean, usually at the beginning of the research, we would apply for ethics application by the university. And another issue of ethics is, as you said, Doctor, I mean, sometimes we need to have the slight innovations or novelty if we want to send product to
Yeah.
different platforms and competitions, make it more current and relevant to the current platform that you are sending to. That's very interesting, Doctor. I mean, we cannot be sending
Probably,
exactly 100%.
yes, probably an improved version. Sometimes they have like this
Mm,
1.0, 2.0,
2.0.
3.0
Yes,
improved
yes,
version of,
you're right.
yeah,
I
that can
mean,
also be done.
that is progress, right, Doctor? That
Yes,
is something good.
yes,
Yeah. Okay,
yes.
Doctor, we have another question. What about teaching and learning written products of students' assessments? So the lecturer is the one producing the paper. Is there a need, to get the consent from the students?
I'm not quite unsure the written products of student assessment. Is this referring to the students' answers, the
Uh,
scripts,
per-
or?
Perhaps if I try to understand this question, maybe in our
Mhm,
courses, when we teach our students, we have a number of assignments as part of our assessment.
mhm.
So let's
All
say
right.
one of the students' assignments, we would like to uh, do a publication on that, for example. Do we need
All
to
right.
ask for the students' consent? I think perhaps.
Yes, I think we have to be fair to the students as well. So if that work is belongs to the students, we have to get their consensus to publish. Let's say if we were to talk about publication, what I normally do, I will contact the students and say, either I'll ask them, if you have time, can you just probably draft one manuscript, and then I have this a few platform for me to submit. I need you just to draft the paper, of course, and then we have to discuss, either he or she is the first author, or I'm the first author, either or. Sometimes we need to be the first author, let's say in terms of paying the fees and whatnot, and then sometimes we have to be the corresponding author. So we have to be transparent in that sense. We have to inform the students, okay, I have this one invitation from this publisher saying that on this scope, and I think yours is very relevant to it. What say you? I'll ask. And then the student will say, okay, doctor, I'm fine with it. I can just prepare the article, but I don't have the money to pay later on. How much is the fees? So I say, okay, all right, is the fees is like this. What say you? Okay, doctor, what is the requirement? So let's say at times, when we use our grants, we need to be either the first author or the corresponding author and whatnot. So I'll explain to students, if I were to pay using my grants, these are the requirements. Are you okay? So it is actually, in the end, it's a consensus of the authors. But of course, the students need to be informed, need to get their consensus, of course, because it's their work in the end. So yeah, of course, we have to involve the students and get their consensus and their consent, right?
Thank you, Doctor. I mean, actually, in line with our theme as well, we are talking about collaboration in
Mm.
innovation, and when we talk about collaboration, we talk about, you know, academicians from other universities, from the industry, but with our students as well is considered a collaboration, right? And we do give them guidance in
Yes, yes,
completing their assignments.
yes,
So
of course.
yeah, sometimes, we have the feeling, are we, is it, are we
Taking their
taking
work.
advantage of our students? But if we view it another way, it's a way of highlighting their achievements, highlighting their work. So perhaps in
Mm.
that sense, we need to
Change the
have the
mindset.
mindset that, yeah, that we are bringing them in for this the innovations and such. Thank you,
I
doctor.
think I have my
uh,
students in the room as well, watching on YouTube Live.
oh,
If you can respond to it, most of my students, they are forced for innovation. I would say that I force them because I think if I don't force you, you have no experience of competing. You never know how good your research is until you have someone criticizing and commenting. So and that is one way for them to improve their research and get ready for their viva because there are so many ways of preparing themselves. So one is especially PhD students, they have their research, they think they are solving a problem, but let's just to get into competition and see from the real view of the judges, either from industries, either from academic, so you have extra comments rather than your reader and your SV. Okay, so if you were to
right.
take it that way, so and then when they enter competition, I ask them, what are among the comments that you receive, what are among the questions? So I say, doctor, the judges asked me, this is not new, how do I answer to that? So I ask her again, if you think that is not new, which part is missing? I have to go through to my thesis again and check, or probably I did not highlight during the presentation. So if you were to present, to prepare yourself for the viva, you need to highlight the issue, because within that split second, a few minutes with the judges, you were not able to convince them. Imagine when you present your viva during your viva. So
Wow.
yeah, you have to make them see a broader view of this research world, rather than just, this is my work, you cannot take my work, that's it, you are my supervisor, I am your students. It has to be of this smart partnership. I always inform my students, okay, this is what we call smart partnership. It's a win-win situation. Of course, I am the advisor, I advise you what are the things to be improved and what not, so you cannot leave me behind. So I'm still your supervisor, and also at the end we will sit down and discuss how to improve. So you have to get your students involved in a lot of discussion going on, in a way. It's not just ask them go for innovation, that's it, and then you let them go. You have to have good collaboration along the way lah. Yes.
Inshallah, we help
Mm.
them. We help them in the
Yes,
beginning steps, doctor. And
yes,
knowledge is for sharing. So innovation
yes.
competitions, these are one of the platforms to make our work, useful
Mm.
for others. And as you said just now, going back to what you said, it's about helping to solve problems, real world problems that people are
Yes,
facing. Okay,
yes, yes,
doctor,
true.
I
Very
think I
much needed.
noticed in the comments in the comments earlier, and that you have also mentioned, Dr. Pon, you have noticed it. One of the
Mhm.
participants asked about the process of getting the copyright. Is it
Okay.
how is the process, tedious or is it manageable?
To be honest, the process is tedious. It's quite tedious because you need to go get into system, fill in the form and whatnot. So as I mentioned, I usually have to strategize things. So I have in a form of my manual form, I have copied everything in the system, because usually when we talk about system, as we are keying in things and then it is lagging and then everything is missing, you have to enter again and fill in. So that makes the process demotivating, I would say, disappointing. So what I did with my students is that, okay, now you have this, and I think I've seen this. Your framework need, your blueprint need to be copyrighted. I would suggest my students. Okay, usually they have like PhD students. They have 3 stages at our faculty. After kemajuan or pemantapan, that means the enhancement presentation. That means they are ready for viva. When they are ready for viva, meaning that there's no changes to framework anymore. So it is validated, it is reliable. So let's go copyright whatever we have, your instrument and whatnot. So what I have is I have a copy of the system in a form of my Word file. So I give to my students, now try to fill in the blanks or explanation because they know better, it's their study. I ask them to fill in the blanks and return back to me, and I'll fill in that system for them. But I already have the answer. I just copy and paste, copy and paste, copy and paste. And it takes about 5 minutes to fill in the form, send. And after send, of course, I have to wait. And next for, I have to present later on, because once it is processed, another stage is for us to defend our copyright. So defending is simple because as long as I said it is genuine, we did it, we own it. So therefore, we don't have to be worried. So just go and defend. We just need some sort of short presentation to our research center management. So we just present for 5 minutes, 10 minutes, and then they'll make their consensus. They make their they come up with the result, and then after a few months we receive our certificate. As simple as that. But that is to be done much easier with your institution lah, with own institution. You may want to ask research center management from own institution and get their help. Especially I think for lecturers, we have our system to key in and to apply for the copyright. Yep, that is the easiest one lah, before patent. Patent is quite more difficult. So let's just go for copyright first.
Thank you very much, Doctor. Okay, so it goes to show that actually the process can be sped up if we are willing to guide our students closer. And Doctor, you yourself, you have a strategy, you have the Word document ready. So things like that can
Yes.
actually speed up rather than if we tell our students to join, but then they are starting from scratch and they are not sure where to begin. So, hopefully by doing this, they can also help others in the future. Okay.
Yes.
All right, Doctor, I think that is all the questions we have time for. Okay. Once again, Dr. Harwati, thank you so much for everything. Hopefully it was beneficial to all of us here today. And to our dear audience members, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining us. We invite you to fill in the attendance link below for your e-certificates, and we would love to hear your feedback. You may share your feedback in the feedback form link provided. Also, don't forget to like and subscribe our faculty YouTube channel. We look forward to your participation for iVEDIIC 2022 and hope to see you in the next iVEDIIC Lunch Date series on the 6th of October. Before we end our session, on behalf of the faculty, I would like to thank once again our collaborators and strategic partners for their support. Thank you very much to our collaborative partner, the University of the Immaculate Conception, UIC Philippines, and to our strategic partners, Selangor State Education Department, JPNS, Ministry of Education Malaysia, Jakarta State University, UNJ Indonesia, Lourdes College Philippines, Pusat Kreatif Kanak-Kanak Tuanku Bainon, and as well as Pocket Production, and to all audience members joining us today. We will end the session with the official song of UiTM, UiTM di Hatiku. Goodbye and Assalamualaikum.